All right, y'all. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. We're live. Okay, we're live. We're live. And live in color. You can do what you wanna do. All right. Here we go. Here we go. And it's your guy, Mr. Haywood from Haywood's Pool and Spa. And you know what, man? I'm not gonna be before you long. This will conclude our education series on filters. Okay, this video here is gonna conclude. This is the last installment of this particular education series. Man, I'm pretty excited about it. I was a little nervous getting started, but as I begin to do it, man, I'm starting to feel a little more comfortable about it. The only thing I have to figure out how to do, y'all, let me make a note right now. I have to make a note I need to learn how to screen share. That way I can bring you in exactly what I'm looking at on the computer. That way I can help you a little bit more. For those of you guys, there's always going to be people who are not interested in going to read the information for themselves. And in that note, that's okay. That's okay. That's what we're here for. That's what the professionals over here at Haywood's Pool and Spa are here for. Okay. Whether it's me or whether it's somebody else sitting in front of this camera, our goal is to bring you the best education, the clearest information. That way you can make the proper choices that you need to make as it pertains to filter sizing, filter cleaning, determining what type of filters that you even want to go with, right? Because as we know, it's 3 different kinds. So again, it all depends on what's important to you. Ease of cleaning, clarity of water, right? Lower electricity bills. All 3 of those are key factors as it pertains to putting bucks back in your pocket at the end of the day. Okay, that's basically what it all boils down to, is whether or not I'm going to be able to save a few dollars. And that's what everybody's concerned with these days, especially with the electricity rates hiking, they're soaring, right? They're at the highest they've ever been. You're having blackouts, different power outages, across the land. And so, one topic that you continue to hear is saving cost, and the cost of that electricity, again, as it pertains to pumps. Well, again, whether we're dealing with single speed pumps or variable speed, right? So with that being said, let's dive on into this article. The notifications have went out. Beautiful thing. So let's dive right on in. Today's topic is filter sizing for swimming pools. Now, we've talked about filter sizing for spas and pools, but in this particular article, we're going to get off into selecting the best filter for your pool, okay? And it's found in the equations, all right? So we're going to be doing equations. We're going to be talking about some equations. So if I'm losing you at any part of the video, just rewind the video, start over as many times as you need to. That way you can get the information that's pertinent to you. All right, here we go. Filters. Filter sizing for swimming pools. Okay. Selecting the best filter for your pool is found in the equation. Okay. A good filtration system for a pool or spa depends on your ability to properly size and select the filter. Now, this information here is not necessarily geared towards the home. It's not necessarily geared towards the homeowner unless you are a builder and you have your hands in. Let's say you build the system yourself. Let's say you went and bought you an Intech above ground pool. Now, let's be frank. Most of those pools, when you buy them out of the box, the filter is not going to be sized properly for that particular pool. So when you begin to size your filter, you have to know some things, right? 1, GPM, which is gallons per minute, how much water that needs to be moved through this particular size filter in order to accomplish or to keep up with that filter rate. Okay. This is when this comes into play. But if you're not looking to build your own stuff, this is mostly for people who are into installing this kind of stuff. And so, but for a homeowner, it's always good to be educated. It's always good to have knowledge. That way, when you're communicating with a builder, you can let that builder know some things. I've done some research, and yeah, you're not gonna just be able to put in what you want. All right, so that's where this information comes into play. All right, so um, give me 1 second, y'all. All right, y'all. I'm back. I'm back. I'm back. Had to communicate with the wife real quick, but I'm back. All right, so back to what I was talking about. All right, so here we go. It depends on your ability to properly size and select the filter. Okay, so to accomplish that, you must calculate the vessel's volume, capacity, and flow rates, and some other key factors, including the type of pump. Okay. After all, the filter fits into the equipment the filter fits into the equipment sequence after the pump. So regardless of whether you're replacing an old filter or installing a filter on a brand new pool spa, you need to match the filter to the pump and the size of the vessel. Okay, vessel meaning the size of the pool. Okay. Below is a step-by-step guide that explains how to correctly assess filtration needs. So let's go ahead and dive right in. The first one, calculation of the volume. In order to properly identify the correct filter model, it's important to determine how much water that needs to be filtered. Okay, so there's equations for that. You basically length times width, length of the pool times the width of the pool times the average depth of the pool times a factor of 3.14. Okay, that's what's going to let you know what your pool volume is. All right, so let's get into it. Um, there are smartphone apps perform these calculations for you. Otherwise, use these simple formulas when calculating the volume of a swimming pool. And so in this case, so first we're going to talk about a rectangular pool. Rectangular pool. Okay, so basically the formula or the equation is length times width. So you got to know how long your pool is. You got to know how wide it is, and you have to be able to calculate average depth. Okay, average depth, real quick, is just basically you're gonna go. What is my shallow end? Let's say my shallow was 4 feet. My deep end is 10. 10 minus 4 gives you 6. 6 feet is the average depth of the pool. Okay, that's gonna be your average depth. All right. So, and then once you add that in, again, it'll tell you how much water you got in the pool. So now we're doing an oval pool. Oval is going to be half the length times half of the width. So you will go length times width, divide each of those numbers by half, right? Times the factor of the 3.14, which is pi, times the average depth. And that'll give you the pool volume for an oval pool. Make sense? Okay, keep going. Irregular shapes for pools that are not truly rectangular, circular, or oval, you have to calculate the volume using the following method. So now in this method, you're going to have to make some drawings. You're going to have to basically draw this thing out. So that way, at each measurement, you can take and write the information down. Otherwise, you'll forget. Okay, so you got to make a scale drawing of the pool on a piece of square grid graph paper with exact square representing, with each square representing 1 square foot. Note, the drawing can be made to any scale you want as long as you keep it uniform, right? Again, 1 square equals 1 square foot. Okay. Now count the number of squares. Don't forget to estimate how many complete squares all of the partially filled squares would amount to, since that provides a close estimate for the pool's areas. Now you do a lot of guesstimating, but you'll get close. And I believe if you do it like that, you'll get close enough. It doesn't have to be exact. Multiply the area by the approximate average depth of the pool, and you'll find the volume in cubic feet. Okay, so that's basically how you measure to find out how much volume. Then you got to calculate the capacity. So capacity is defined as the number of gallons of water that the pool will hold, as opposed to volume, which is a spatial measurement. Okay, This formula is like this. Pool volume times 7.48 equals the pool capacity in gallons. Okay, because we're going to need it in gallons. We got to convert it from cubic feet to gallons. Say you have a rectangular pool that is 40 feet long and 20 feet wide with the average depth of 5 feet. First, you need to figure out the pool volume. So simply plug these numbers into the volume equation and multiply 40 by 20 by 5. That's going to give you 4,000 cubic feet of pool volume. Now plug the volume into the capacity equation and multiply that 4,000 cubic feet by a factor of 7.48, and it now switches from cubic feet to gallons. Okay, that's what the pool capacity is. We need to know how many gallons the pool is. That way we know how to go about sizing our filter and or what type of pump we're going to need to be able to move that many gallons in a certain time frame. Because keep in mind, turnover rate for a pool is 6 hours. Okay, you'll get some people that say 6 to 8, but it's generally 6 hours. Okay, that's a rule of thumb. So, how much filter media do we need, and what size pump do we need to be able to push 29,920 gallons through that filter within 6 hours to completely filter all the water in the pool? That's what we're looking at, y'all. Okay. The third thing we're going to do is you want to find the flow rate. So the flow rate is in the volumes of water flowing past a given point during a specific period of time, measured in gallons per minute, which is GPM or GPH, simply we do gallons per hour. Okay, so now you need to know your flow rate formula. What's the flow rate formula? It's capacity divided by turnover time in hours equals the flow rate per hour. So the flow rate per hour divided by 60 equals the flow rate per minute. Interesting. So you need to have these formulas down. So again, if for whatever reason I'm moving a little too fast, please, hey man, pause the video after, once it's done, pause it, go back and take notes. Okay. That's the beauty of having a streamed video that gets archived. You can always go back and replay as many times as you need until you get the information that you're looking for. Say you set up the pool, say you want to set up the pool to have an 8-hour turnover rate. 8 hours is the general rate of 6 hours for any size pool. But if you did it by 8, I mean, it's what it is. But this is just for example. The equation to find the flow rate for a 29,920 gallon pool, regardless of its shape, is 29,920 divided by 8. That's going to give you your gallons per hour. So you need to be able to move. So in this case, you got 3,740 gallons per hour. How do we move that in 8 hours? Well, really that divided by 8 will tell you how many you need to move per hour. To calculate the flow rate per minute, in this case, is 3,740, which is our gallons per hour. We divide that by 60. It gives you 62.3. That's the rate at which you want to filter the work. So 62.3 gallons a minute will get you to 3,740 gallons per hour. Okay. And that's the rate at which you want to filter the work. Okay. So let's start this equation another way. The calculations for your 29,920 gallon pool show that you require a flow rate of 62.3 gallons per minute to filter the pool's capacity at 8 hours. Therefore, your goal is to determine which model of filter can handle that 62.3 gallons of water per minute, resulting in a desired complete turnover rate every 8 hours. Okay. So I know we're talking equations, we're talking math. Math for a lot of people gets really tricky. It gets boring. I mean, it is what it is. But if you're really looking to determine how to size that filter, this is the painstaking information that you got to go through. It's painful, y'all. I get it. But I'm in the trade, so I must know it. Okay, believe it or not. Now, next we want to determine the filter flow rate. Okay. Because again, you have how big of a filter do I need for the flow rate that I'm looking for? Okay, this is what this equation is going to do. You're going to determine if the filter you want to use can handle the flow rate that you require. Okay, the filter flow rate is defined as the amount of water filtered over a given period of time, expressed in gallons per minute. Filter flow rate formula is as follows. The filter area times filter rate that equals the filter flow rate in GPM. The filter area is the surface of the filter media. It is measured in square feet. The filter rate is the number of gallons of water that flows through 1 square foot of effective filter medium per minute, okay, during the operation of, the circulation system. Circulation system is basically pump through the filter and through the heater or whatever and back to the pump. Pump through the filter, through the heater, back to the pump. If it ain't no heater, it's pump in, out, through the filter, and then back to the water, right? That's the circulation system. So, for example, say you have a filter area of about 5 square feet and the filter rate of 12.5 GPMs. These numbers are based on a particular model of sand filter. To calculate the filter flow rate, you have to go 5 times, which is that 5 square feet times 12.5 GPMs. It gives you 62.5 GPMs. That's awfully close to the flow rate of 62.3 in example of step 3. Okay. Now, keep it in mind that you always want to oversize the filter. And I'll explain in a minute. Tip: if determining the filter flow rate seems a bit daunting, just get both figures, the filter area and rate from the manufacturer. With the figures, you'll be able to better select the correct filter to suit your needs. All right? This is a tip. In case you're like, man, this dude's throwing all these numbers at me, man, I don't got a clue what you're talking about. I don't really understand. Well, I said, get your filter area and your filter rate from the manufacturer, okay? And then with their figures, you'll be better able to select the filter to suit your needs. Making the filter choice. Do you prefer sand? Do you prefer diatomaceous earth or a cartridge filter? Pressure or vacuum filters? If you have narrowed down your filter choice to a preferred manufacturer, it will make it even easier to perform your for calculations and select the filter that will do the job or go beyond what you need. All right. The example we've been using refers to the characteristics of sand filter. It's important to note that both DE and cartridge filters have notably lower filter rates. Okay, notably lower. Typically, a high rate sand model filter water at a rate of 20 gallons per square foot. DE models work at 2 gallons per square foot, and the cartridge is even lower at 1 gallon per square foot. Nevertheless, the mathematical relationships between filter area, filter rate, filter flow rate will remain the same, okay? Because they're like Siamese twins. They're tied in together. They go hand in hand. You can't do one without the other, okay? So back to what I was telling you. Remember, I mentioned earlier that you need to oversize the filters. It's very important that your filter is oversized. And let's talk about why. That's right. When matched with the proper pumps, you can and should oversize the filter. Why? Because a large filter area will lower the flow rate per square foot of media, enabling the filter to capture even more debris and thus increase its efficiency. Filters that are larger than indicated by calculations are particularly necessary for pools with heavier bather loads and for backwashing because the filter requires additional size for backwashing. How oversizing works? Let's talk about it. Referring back to our earlier example, you could either select a model with a large filter area or a model with an increased filter rate to allow for debris buildup and backwashing. You might even select a model with the filter area of 5 square feet and a filter rate of 20 gallons per minute. That will yield a filter flow rate of 100 gallons per minute, which is well beyond the desired rate of 62.3. Alternatively, you can choose a filter with 4 square feet of filter area and a filter rate of 25 GPM per square feet. So another side note, if you size the sand or DE filter too large, there won't be enough pressure to backwash it clean. So be sure to maintain the necessary backwash flow. Okay. So again, if it's too large, when you go to turn that multi-port valve to reverse the flow of that water so that you can get the dirt off that filter, it's not going to be enough pressure to do it. So be careful when oversizing DE and sand. Now, cartridge filters all day long, to me, would be the best option simply because you ain't never got to worry about backwashing and the backwashing pressure. But you got all the filtered media you need to be able to catch what you need to catch out of that pool. Like I said, the only difference between the DE sand and cartridge is that the cartridge actually has to be physically removed to wash it off. There's no backwashing involved. And so, is that a plus? Is it not? All depends on you. It depends on your experience and what you come accustomed to dealing with. All right. So, limit the filter rate and adjust the filter area. Filter rates on pools are regulated in many locations. The National Sanitation Foundation sets maximum filter rates to ensure effective filtration because the faster the water passes through the media, the less effectively it's cleaned. So that's what's slowing that water down so that the particles don't just dive through the holes of the filter. They actually get caught and trapped in again, just like in other areas. Let's say, for instance, air conditioning. The dirtier that filter gets, the more better it works. Now, once it's so plugged, now you're doing your system a disservice because now it's starving for air, which is going to cause other problems. And it cause that filter to up and to suck up into your depending on where the filter is at, into your ducting, or if it's right at the fan, like in big multi-zone type systems, then them filters are going to fly into that fan, and thus, again, cause other problems that you don't need. But in this case, we want water to slow down some so that we can effectively adjust. Effectively clean out the particles, right? So rate filter rate ceilings are imposed most often in commercial facilities. If this is the case where you live, you may have to compensate by selecting a model with a larger filter area. By doing so, you can achieve the same flow rate without exceeding the maximum filter rate. Last but not least, select the correct filter, taking in all the above calculations and factors into consideration. You are now ready to select the proper filter for your particular pool. So I thought this was pretty interesting because, like I said, it's pretty straightforward. One, you need to calculate the volume. Two, calculate the capacity. Three, find the flow rate. Four, determine the filter flow rate. Okay, make your filter choice. Oversize the filter. Limit the filter rate and adjust the filter area. Select the correct filter, and you're pretty much done. It's a win-win situation. So again, if you got any questions, like I said, this was a really short video, but if you have any questions, please feel free to drop a message below. Let's talk, let's communicate, let's conversate. You can also shoot me a direct 323-781-6329. And please don't call me and ask me how I'm doing, how's business. Let's talk about stuff that's pertaining to the video. Okay. Any questions you may have pertaining to my videos. All right. Or if you don't necessarily like direct conversation, email us. HaywoodsPoolSpa@gmail.com. Haywoods, HaywoodsPoolSpa@gmail.com. All right. Let's talk about it, guys. That's what I'm here for. Like I said, I love you to life. Before we get off, always remember to like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell at the top so that you know when the videos are being posted or when we're going live. That way you can come on into the community and we can keep this thing flowing, keep this thing rolling. Yeah, buddy. Rolling like a big shot. Yeah. All right. If you are a homeowner and or a client, bigger client, a big and you're looking for somebody to service your pool, please hit us up and give us a call. You can also go to our my website is not built yet. Okay, we're working on that. We got some other things that we're doing. So it may be a little while before we get that thing going. But if you look at my promo videos, 30-second video, it might be a 1-minute video, I think, that my lovely daughter put together for me. At the end, it pauses and it shows you all of what we do and all our services. All right. So with that being said, man, we love you to life. And as usual, let's dive into this thing together. All right. Mr. Haywood, again, you know what I mean? It's pool talking pools, baby. Ah, ah. This video, uh, uh, for lack of better words, is the end of this particular education series, and we'll be on to the next one. So, hey, man, I hope you like it. I hope you fall in love with it. Again, like I say, if you find something that I'm talking about that ain't uh, all exactly correct, please let's talk about it, right? So we can correct this thing, so I can get the family and the community up to par, right, with the information that's being presented here on this page. Thanks again for watching. I'll see you at the next poll.